This episode, this interview that's about to come up with Karen, is brought to you by EmployeeEscapePlan.com. That's www.EmployeeEscapePlan.com. And if you want to have more customers pay you more money more often, I highly recommend you check out Joe Nicasio. He has a bunch of really great stuff that he gives you, free resources on his website, and you can buy. Joe is actually wanting and willing to buy you an hour of his time. He's an amazing guy and just a blessing to be around. I highly recommend you talk to Joe, get to know him, learn about his expertise, his mastery, his wisdom, and then you will grow. You will become your greatest possible self. He's a superstar. Highly recommend Joe Nicasio, www.EmployeeEscapePlan.com. Karen Putz is known as the Passion Mentor. She specializes in helping people unwrap their passion at any age. She's the author of the popular book, Unwrapping Your Passion, Creating the Life You Truly Want, in which she interviewed over 200 passionate people, including Chris Brogan, Tom Ziglar, and Olympian Dara Torres. For fun, Karen walks on water. That's right. She's a barefoot water skier. Karen, are you ready to rock the house?
I'm absolutely ready. Bring it on.
Yes, she's absolutely ready. Bring it on. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. I love it. Karen, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing about passion with our audience. We are excited to learn from you and hear about your journey and your life. Thank you for being here.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm really excited to be sharing these things with your audience. We might want to tell your audience a little bit about why I'm looking off to the side. I have a sign language interpreter right behind my screen. So even though I'm not quite looking at Chris, I'm looking at an interpreter who's signing everything you say.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. And Karen is deaf, and she's still doing interviews and inspiring people and transforming the world so that they can be passionate and love life. Talk about being resilient. Talk about just doing whatever it takes to live your purpose, to live your passion. So Karen, we acknowledge you for all that you're doing and all that you're creating in the world. You are the creator of your reality. Super inspiring. Super inspiring.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So let's
Would you like me to share a little bit about that?
Yeah,
Story
please,
of how
please.
I became deaf?
Please, yes.
Okay, yeah, because a lot of people are pretty curious about that part.
Yeah.
And I was actually born with normal hearing. In fact, everybody in my entire family was born with normal hearing, and everybody in my entire family has lost their hearing in different ways.
Wow.
And for me, I started losing my hearing as a very young child. So going to school became a difficult thing, just trying to spend all day listening and understanding people. Well, in high school, I discovered the sport of barefoot water skiing because my older brother, Kenny, was a barefoot water skier. And I absolutely loved the sport, fell in love with it. Except for one day, I turned across the wake. For the second time, I had done that trick, and this time it didn't end very well. I actually crashed into the water, and when I got into the boat, I had become deaf. Except for I didn't realize it. And I wasn't hearing my friends, the lips are moving, but I wasn't hearing anything. And I didn't give it a second thought because I thought, oh, I've got water in my ear or something. It'll come back. Well, it didn't come back. And what happened instead is that I developed tinnitus, which is a horrible ringing sound in your ears, and you can't shut it off. I had that for months and months after that accident. And then one morning, as you can imagine, it was a dark time in my life. One morning, I just woke up and I realized that I had a choice. I could continue to be miserable, or I could make a different choice and embrace the journey. And that simple one decision changed everything, changed my entire life path. Because from that morning on, I embraced learning American Sign Language. I met my husband. We have 3 deaf and hard of hearing kids. So it's amazing how the power of one simple decision can change your entire life.
Wow. That's incredible. And I acknowledge you and admire you for the courage to get back up after you've been knocked down. And even with such a challenge, and like the hearing, the pain, the annoyance of it was more so than you mentioned. Like, you just kind of got back up and you're like, oh, it's no big deal. It just got water in my ears. But then you're like, oh, wait, there's something that is more important and I should be concerned or pay attention to this. And then it started affecting you. And then you said, wait, I'm not going to let this run my life. I'm not going to let this dictate how I live and how I show up. I'm still going to live a full life, making a huge contribution to people, making a massive difference. It's super inspiring.
But you have to understand that it was very dark that time. I was actually suicidal at one point. And it wasn't, even though I made the decision, and it changed the entire trajectory of my life, it was still a process. And I think a lot of us don't give credit to the process that we have to go through to get through pain. And once you get through it and you slog through it, and for some of us it's longer than others, but once you get through it, the other side is just so worth it. And so for so many of us, I think that's why I'm so passionate about helping other people find their passion.
Yes.
Because a lot of times we're just sleepwalking through life, we're just slogging through it, but we don't have a goal, we don't have an end result to work towards. And so for many of us, we're lost.
Wow. This is powerful, powerful stuff. So one thing that we do in every interview is dive into the theme of the day. And today's theme is self-love through forgiveness. So Karen, we're curious, how have you taken on this perspective of forgiveness to give yourself self-love? How has that showed up for you in your family, in your work, your career? How has that showed up for you?
Wow, that is a good one. Self-love, I think, is something that we have different degrees of in different times in our life where maybe we don't love ourselves as much as we should. And I think a lot of that comes from what I call the grass is greener syndrome. We tend to not love ourselves because we think we should be living up to somebody else's standards. When we go down that path, the self-love gets less and less because we think we should be so much better than we really are. So I know the times, like for me, struggling with weight is where my self-love gets tested. Because when I put on weight, I tend to not love myself as much. So it gets really hard to forgive myself for the weight that I put on. So this is an interesting concept that you're bringing up.
So when you focus on the self-love and you focus on the challenges that you have to deal with to maintain self-love or cultivate self-love, how has forgiveness made a big difference for you?
Well, the one thing that I've learned about forgiveness is that forgiveness is always about you and not the other person. So forgiving yourself is really about setting yourself free. Wow. That's what forgiveness is just set yourself free from whatever's holding you down, from whatever self-limiting beliefs that you have, for anything that's holding you back, to release that, means to love yourself.
Wow. So is there any specific places you can see that happening, that you've seen forgiveness demonstrated in either your clients or with your family? Any specific scenarios or incidents that showed up for you and you demonstrated that, or you were challenged with that philosophy and you had to learn the wisdom, learn the discernment so that you could do that and implement that moving forward?
That is interesting. I think for me, I'm looking back on my life and trying to think of the moments of forgiveness.
Yeah.
And what comes to mind, it sounds kind of strange, but what it comes to mind is actually forgiving myself as a teenager. Because when I was growing up, I struggled to fit in. I was hard of hearing at that time, but I was also very ashamed of being hard of hearing when I was growing up. I constantly hid my hearing aid. I always felt like I was less than. I never felt like I was good enough. I was constantly comparing myself to people who had normal hearing. After I became deaf, during that very dark period, when I finally found the light, was the day that I actually put my hearing aid on and went out in public for the first time, and I showed myself as I am. For me, that was a breakthrough. It may not seem like much to other people. They're like, oh, come on, it's just a hearing aid. It's like wearing glasses. But I spent my entire life ashamed of it and hiding who I was. And I believe the day that I got up and put the hearing aid on and went out is the day that I forgave myself for all those years of not being me. So that was an interesting concept for me to step into, to actually step into the authentic self. And that's something that I try to teach other people, to step into the authentic self. We have been given certain gifts. We are weak for a reason. And it's okay to embrace that weirdness and stand out. In fact, you should do that. And I think if we raise children with that concept of really truly loving themselves and embracing themselves as they are, and for all the quirks that they have, for all the gifts that they have, for all the interests they have, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is. And, I love how you said, it might not seem such a big deal to have hearing aids to some people, but for you, it was everything. It was such a huge breakthrough. And I think that's how a lot of life is. Standing from another perspective, we'd be like, I just want to, I'm out to do these sales conversations, make sales calls, pick up the phone and dial for dollars or whatever it might be. And it's like so difficult for me, and it's challenging. I'm banging my head up against the wall, and it's the last thing I want to do in the world. But to someone else, they're like, just give me the phone, 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 give me the phone. And it's like, it's no problem for them. But everyone has their own story about their circumstances, and that story will just totally derail you, or it will take you to the mountaintop, so to speak. It will lift you to new heights when you learn to master it and really harness the power of that, so that it impacts yourself and other people. So I think that that's such a powerful distinction to make, that everyone has their own stuff that they're dealing with, their own shortcomings or challenges, adversities. And the sooner that we recognize that we think that we're different and that our problems are different and that we're not like anyone else, but the emotions that we feel because of our differences are so similar, the shame, the guilt, the awkwardness, the weirdness, whatever, we're so similar, and we relate so much in that. And it's so important to be authentic and share ourselves in a way that we're sharing our gifts and our passions. And that's exactly what you focus on, is those passions. So I'd love to get more into that and tell us a little bit more about how you are the passion mentor and teach people to draw that out of themselves.
Well, I should probably give you the backstory of it, how I even went down this path. As you can remember, barefoot water skiing was the thing that I loved as a teen. Well, at the age of 44, on my 44th birthday, I was extremely down. And just looking back on the years and crying and feeling like, oh my gosh, life is over. What is there to look forward to? I'm 44 years old. It just seems so old. Because all I could think about was that the best years of my life were over with. Why in the world didn't I embrace it more? Why didn't I barefoot water ski more when I could? So at 44, I thought, it's over. But then I met a 66-year-old woman who was barefoot water skiing on the Today Show. And her and I became friends, Judy Myers. And at the age of 44, I put my feet back on the water again and rediscovered this thing we call passion. And it was long buried. Now, don't get me wrong. I had a great life. Good marriage, wonderful children. We had a lake home in Michigan. I was enjoying life. It was just ho-hum. Get up, go to work, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. That thing. So for me to discover passion again, I wanted to tap into it. I wanted to sell it to everybody I knew. Because it was such a great transformation from an ordinary life to an extraordinary one, and I wanted everyone to experience that. So I started studying this thing we call passion. I started interviewing people. I got the idea for writing my book, Unwrapping Your Passion, 7 years ago. But I wasn't in a position to write the book yet because, number one, I hadn't lived a passionate life. You really can't write about something that you haven't lived. So I spent the next 7 years living it and being surrounded by people, extremely passionate people. And what happens when you tap into the energy of passion? You naturally attract people. It just happens. It's the law of attraction in the works. But it really did work. I mean, literally overnight, I hear people emailing me. I hear people reaching out on Facebook saying, we need a third in the boat. And at first, my husband was not happy about me jumping into a boat with men that I didn't even know. But after a while, he was like, oh, go have fun. Because I was coming home happier. And that is what I want to tap into with other people. I do it with one-on-one coaching, group coaching, workshops. I do a lot of speaking on this topic. And the reason I am so passionate about it is because I truly believe it's an energy that many of us neglect. We get stuck in routine. We have been taught to, go to school, go to work, live for retirement, live for a couple of vacations, call it a life. And there's so much more to all of us than just doing what everybody else is doing.
Wow. It's powerful. Powerful, powerful. So you rediscovered your passion and you started studying it and then sharing that with other people so that they can discover their passion. And by the way, for everyone who's out in the audience, if you have a question for Karen, she's here on the interview live. If you have any questions about adversity, being able to handle adversity or tapping into your passion, make sure you answer it while she's here because she is available and I'll make sure I ask her the question for you. But Karen, we want to know, what does it take to really tap into that passion? How do we discover that and cultivate that? What have you found works for you and your clients and the audiences that you speak to?
The very first step is to actually get quiet. Now, of course, I have an advantage because I can turn my hearing aids off and presto, silence. So I have an advantage there. But seriously, we need to slow down the business of life and sit down, go somewhere with a spiral notebook and start getting clear on what you want from life, who you are, who do you want to be, who do you want to, what do you want to have. I do what I call a 100 life list. And the first time I did the 100 life list, I could only come up with 53 things. And my mentor said to me, you need to dream bigger. And she was right. And so I started dreaming bigger, and to my surprise, things started happening. I started checking off things from the life list. And the reason why that works is because when you get clear, when you have a thought in your head and you get clear on it and you write it down and you start taking action on that thought, things start happening. People start popping into your life to help you. And then you get this new energy, this new passion, because all of a sudden you had a plan and you have action to go with it.
Wow. So the first step is to get quiet and start listening and looking at what is it that inspires us. For me, what I've found valuable is looking back on my life when I was most inspired, when I was most fulfilled, when I saw myself giving 110%, when I saw myself burning the midnight oil, going long into the night, waking up super early, what got me out of bed? like, what was the thing that I didn't even get paid to do it, but I just loved doing it. And I can look back and look at what are the common themes, what are the common ingredients. And the more that we study our life, the more we can really engineer our life to have these things. And this is a perfect example, creating that 100 life list. What are the 100 things that you want to do or accomplish or have or be in your lifetime that truly inspire you? And just writing it out on paper is saying to the universe, I want these things. And the continual focus on it and meditation on it. And which one of these do I want to, or ones of these do I want to tackle this year? Which ones of these are important to me? Which ones do I want to really go for this year? Which ones will bring me to life, bring me joy, bring me fulfillment this year? So I love that, Karen. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. What else do we need to know?
Well, two things. Number one, along with what you talked about prioritizing, figuring out what you want to do, that's why I like the passion test. With the passion test, I'm a certified facilitator for that. You identify the top 5 passions, and when you know what those 5 are, you have a focus. And just 5. Any more than that, it's too overwhelming, and you can't track it. So that's one. You also tapped into the one thing that I help people do is look back in their past, because our past has answers. We have joy written in there. The 2 other places, one is the present. If you're standing in line doing something very boring, you're at a meeting where your mind is just not into that meeting, your mind is going to wander somewhere else. Watch where your mind wanders at your most boring moments of your life, because your mind will naturally wander to more exciting things, whether it's a vacation, whether it's, being with someone or wanting a book that you're reading, whatever it is, those are clues to your passion. Third thing is watch where your mind goes for someday. What are you putting off for someday? What's on your someday list? All the things that you will do someday when you have time, money, whatever it is, the someday list. But here's the thing about someday is that you can search a calendar all over the entire world and you will not find a someday on any calendar in the world.
Yeah. So all we have is specificity. When we have that specificness of today or a specific date, a specific time, that brings power to our life. And even what I love about the getting rid of someday, we have to draw a line in the sand. We have to say when, and we have to throw our hat over the wall and figure out how later, figure out how we're going to do that. How am I going to, 10x my revenue this year? How am I going to find the man or the woman of my dreams this year? How am I going to get into that mansion that I'm loving, or the lake house, or whatever it is by this time next year? What would that take? Who do I have to become? And that's a really, I feel like passion is a driver for that, for the fulfillment of that goal.
It definitely does. Passion is fuel.
Yeah.
And we never really talked about what passion means. For all the people that I interviewed, I must have gotten 200 different definitions of passion. But the one definition that stood out was very, very simple. Passion is your joy. We all know what joy is. But for each one of us, joy is a different thing. It comes in our life in different ways. That's why we can't say passion is a certain thing. Because for every individual, it means something different. You and only you can define what passion means to you. And the surprising meaning behind passion is the willingness to suffer. If you think about it, though, when you are passionate about something, you will get up at 4 a.m. You will do 12-hour podcasts. If you're passionate about something, it becomes that fuel.
I love that. So the definition of passion is whatever your joy is, whatever brings you joy. and passion, you would be willing to suffer or endure pain to achieve that joy. You'd be willing to go through uncomfortableness, difficulty, adversity, because it brings you joy, because it's something that fulfills you, that you would do even if you didn't get paid. That is passion. Wow.
Spot on.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, Karen, we're curious, and I'm curious. How did your journey of becoming a mentor, becoming a speaker, becoming a teacher and a leader, how did that evolve? How did it go? What were some of the challenges or adversities to being able to reach people and have them get it? To confronting your own, maybe lacking confidence or not enough, and then forgiveness and self-love. How did that show up along your journey?
That's a good question, and part of it was looking back into my past. For example, I remembered when I was 9 years old, I remember sitting in front of a typewriter typing stories. I remember taking a journalism class in high school. I remember reading Daniel Steele and thinking, oh my gosh, I want to write like her someday. All those little pieces are clues, and often we dismiss them. But when you sit down and you start really thinking about what you want, all of a sudden things start showing up in your life. The first time I learned this at a Yes to Success workshop with Deborah Pullman. And in there she introduced the concept of manifestation, about how you can take something that's a thought in your head, write it down, put it on a vision board, and make it come to life. And to me, that was new to me. So the first thing that I wanted to do was be in a chicken soup for the soul book. I started laying down at a table. I wrote it down on that very list, and I said, I want to do that. Month went by. I wasn't any closer to being a chicken soup for the soul author, and I wondered why. Well, hello? You got to take some action for the universe to meet you halfway.
Yep.
So right then and there, I sat down, went to the Chicken Soup for the Soul site, pulled it up, wrote an article, submitted, and the next thing I knew, I had a box of Chicken Soup for the Soul books coming to my house. It's been like that with just about everything that I have done. First it comes in a thought, then it comes into, the vision board, or you write it down, and then you have to take some kind of step every single day, whether it's researching something, meeting somebody new, listening to a podcast related to whatever you want to do, go visiting a place that whatever it is, you have to take the action to meet the universe halfway on it.
Wow. So did you find that it was pretty natural for you to manifest? Like you mentioned that you weren't any closer really in the beginning, and were you taking action? It just wasn't showing up for you. The result wasn't showing up for you, or were you hoping and then you finally learned that, hey, I need to take some action for this?
I think it was somebody who once said to me, because I was saying all this manifestation stuff that's, it doesn't work. And then a friend of mine, she said to me, she goes, well, what are you doing your part to make it work? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, the book is not going to write itself. The trip is not going to happen by itself. And that's what a friend said to me. And that's when it was a light bulb moment for me. And I think ever since then, everything that has happened in my life has either been a result of thinking about it or it's a gift.
Wow, that's beautiful. Beautiful. So what about the rest of your journey? How did it evolve? Did the steps get placed in front of you naturally, easily, effortlessly, or was there adversity in getting your message out, in building your career?
Did you forget what I just taught you about willingness to suffer? Life is up and downs, and that's the beauty of the journey. It's the up and downs. It's people think that it's going to be all fairies and roses, and for the most part, it is very good because number one, you learn to become very grateful for what you have, and that's part of it, of really realizing what you have around you right now and being grateful for it. Now, that's a big thing. You know, and the other thing is, part of it is the journey of life. It's seeing what will unfold. You know, once you've been given an idea and the ability to pursue it, part of it is watching it unfold and seeing where it goes. No, that's part of it.
Wow. That's awesome. So do you think that a fixed mindset and wanting it to happen right now, or like a determination to make it happen, is that is that counterproductive to people's progress? Do you think that there's an element of, I'm going to do the best that I can, but I'm not really attached, and I'm open to the universe kind of putting things in my path? And if that's the case, do you feel like shiny object syndrome, where there's too many choices, too many opportunities? How do we deal with each of those situations and circumstances?
That's a complex question, isn't it? It's almost like the meaning of life, isn't it? I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think, number one, you have to have that clarity and that determination for it. That's one part of it. The second part of it is not being attached to the outcome. To be able to let go and experience life. If you hold on to something too hard, you never really get to experience the fullness of it. And that's part of it. A lot of us are holding on to something so tight in one part of our life that the rest of our life starts crumbling. So some of it is that balance, and letting go of the outcome. Having the clarity, taking the action, moving down there, but not being married to the outcome of it.
How do people overcomplicate passion? How have you seen them try to make it too big of a deal, or get overwhelmed or overworked about their passion, or trying to find their passion or live their passion? What do you see the mistakes are that they're making, or that they're just not getting it, it's not clicking for them?
I think a lot of people get hung up on passion as a thing. It's not a thing. It's an energy that you experience. Right. And that's where the difference is. When you realize it's the energy, then you start sitting back and you start inviting it into your life instead of chasing it down. I don't know what my passion is. A lot of people come to me and they'll say that to me. And I say, okay, let's take a step back for a minute, and then I'll put them through my process, of looking in the past, looking at the present, looking at the future, and doing things, identifying the joy. A lot of our joy is found in very, very simple things, not necessarily the big trip, not necessarily the end of the outcome, but the journey itself. I have interviewed many people who have become champions. And at the moment of becoming champion, the next day after it kind of wears off, they're lost. They don't know what to do with themselves. All of a sudden, they're like, oh, my gosh, the quest is done. The joy is gone with it. Because part of the joy came from the very quest itself. Yeah. But people don't recognize that. There's a little saying, don't be so busy making a living that you forget to have a life. And a lot of people do that. They're so busy conquering one thing that they're not having a life at all.
Wow. How do you know if you're too busy making a living versus building for the future and putting in the work now to have a better life, a better quality of life, a freedom later on? How do you distinguish between overworking or doing the wrong thing, or feeling wrong about it, or not being optimally empowered and living a great life? How do you distinguish between those two?
There's a very easy answer for that one. You've just been given 6 months to live. What's important? When you put yourself into that frame of mind, and you realize, wow, what's really important in life? What are you really working for? What are you really living for? And that's what you have to ask yourself in the big when you look at the big picture of your life, Ziglar, if you look at his information, he talks about the wheel of life. The spokes have to be balanced for you to truly enjoy all of life. If one spoke is too long and one spoke is too short, what's going to happen to your life? It's going to be really lopsided, and it's going to be very difficult to navigate through life. So that's what you have to look at, that whole picture, that whole thing. What are you living for? We only have one shot at this life. Do you really want the next purse? Do you really want the next vacation? Or do you really want precious time with your family? What is it that you really want?
What are some other thieves of joy? What have you noticed steals people's joy and their ability to be present in the moment and fully enjoy the moment?
The biggest thing that steals people's joy is envy. Envy. When you envy, you are looking at somebody else and somebody else's life. And it may not be authentic to your life. It is okay to admire, but envy hurts. If you can admire somebody else, that's a great thing. You can be happy for them. But envy takes away the joy, takes away the happiness, because you can't be happy for that person when you're agreeing with envy yourself. So I think that's a big joy stealer. It also takes you away from your own life. Because if you're too busy looking at somebody else and the way they live their life, then you're forgetting to live yourself.
What is the opposite of passion?
Oh, wow. Nobody has ever asked me that. The opposite of passion probably would be boredom. Boredom. Total, complete boredom.
Wow.
Boredom of life, not feeling apathy almost.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's a good one.
Yeah, because when you are able
I have to go in my next book.
Yeah, because when you're able to define a word, the ability to have that foundation, that solidness of the definition creates power. If we can define these words and share that with our audiences, like you define passion as your joy, what gives you and brings you joy, that's power. It's like, oh, so that's what passion is. That's why I've been seeking that. If we know the opposite, it gives us even more power, even more clarity to know when I'm feeling boredom, when I'm feeling apathy, then I'm not passion. I'm on the opposite end. So think about the things that bring you boredom and apathy, and make sure that you engineer your life or create your life so that those things aren't in it.
What's really interesting is that a lot of people describe passion as excitement or enthusiasm. So when you think about it, the opposite of that, the apathy, the boredom, it fits.
Yeah. Wow. What is one of your favorite questions that you get asked about passion? What do you love being asked about passion in interviews or in seminars, workshops? What's one of your favorite questions to answer about passion?
Okay, probably my favorite one, and this happens all the time. People would get up there and they'd say, man, I used to love football. I was a great football player in high school, but, here I am, 68 years old. I don't think that I can pick up my passion again. I'm too old. So I hear variations of that I'm too old theme all the time. And, okay, so maybe he can't be a quarterback on a high school football team again. But he could join a pickup, group with neighborhood old senior citizens if he wants. I have a friend who plays basketball. He's 72 years old. He has no plans of stopping. There are always ways, creative ways that you can tap into your passion. You could go visit every football stadium in the United States. You could become a football announcer. You could write local articles about football. You can coach a football team. There are so many things that you can do centered around your passion. It may not look like you want it to look at first, but if you get really creative, you can tap into that passion in different ways. There's also, when people challenge me on the age thing, I tell them about the 109-year-old guy who moved into a nursing home. His name was Alfie Day in Australia. The day that he moved in, the nurses came up to him and said, "Hey, we need your help. We heard that you are a knitter." Many years ago, he was able to knit, and he did it professionally as a career. So at 109 years of age, he started teaching knitting classes in the nursing home, and the whole nursing home was knitting these cute little sweaters for penguins that had gotten caught in an oil spill. Wow. A year later, he passed away peacefully. But think about that. At 109 years old, he tapped into a passion. Wow. So if you tell me you're too old and you're stuck in a nursing home, I've got a challenge for you.
I love it. That's a great story. That's so good. Oh my gosh. So I think the theme is there's no excuses for not living in your joy, living in your passion. There's no excuses. You can always find something. And even if you can't like pick up and throw a football, let's say, you're older and that just doesn't work with your body mechanics aren't able to throw it, maybe you get a lighter football or something lighter to throw back and forth, something simple that's easier. Or maybe you just go to the games and you watch the games and you talk about the games with people who are passionate about that. Maybe you just discuss it. Maybe you just share memories and you find ways to create joy through how it used to be and what was the best parts about it and how you're excited for, the future of the sport and all these different things. I think there's just opportunities to create more joy, no matter what it is. And we can retrofit, we can adjust, we can transform our joy to find what is the theme, what is the common theme in it, to create that in another way, even if we're challenged to do it in the way that we used to. Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. Are there any other inspiring examples or stories that you've heard about passion or living our passion or overcoming challenges or adversity with this spirit of achievement or passion?
Yes. In fact, I just finished writing a book. Let me see if I have it right here. I don't think I even told you about this one. It's a book about a guy. His name is Banana George. And he broke his back 4 times. He took up water skiing at the age of 40. He learned to barefoot at 42. And he took up competition at the age of 65.
Wow.
And then he learned to snowboard when he was 80. He drove a race car with Prince Albert. He performed for King Hussein. He did all these things. He took up surfing. He rode a bull. He did all this stuff. At the age of 93, he barefoot water skied for the final time. And then he sat on a sit ski, and he still got to enjoy the sport of water skiing. At the age of 98, he had come close to death at that point. 3 days before he died, he still had his best day on a pedal bike. So the thing is, you have got to grab every bit of life. We've got to take away this whole getting older stuff because it's really ruining our minds. We have this thing in our mind that 55 is middle age, and 70, 80, boy, you better slow it down, you might break a bone. We need to throw that out and just get out there and live life. Can you imagine being Banana George's doctor the second time he broke his back, or the third time he broke his back, or the 4th time he broke his back? And he still went out there and he barefoot water skied. He broke his back twice in 1 year at the age of 82. And he's still barefooted until 93. And we've got doctors out there telling us, whoa, slow it down. You're not getting any younger. But I think we need to turn that around. You better speed it up. You're not getting any younger.
Yes. I love it. I love it. So I would love your input on this, Karen, because it's been a perspective of mine. I used to ride dirt bikes and go off of jumps and do I liked adrenaline. I was a super adrenaline type of person. Like, go faster was my mentality. And then I tore
Come
one.
barefooting with me.
Yeah, right. And then I tore one rotator cuff, healed it. Then I tore another rotator cuff, healed it. And after that, I was like, well, I don't want to lose functionality. I want to keep going to the gym and working out and being strong and able and have my body work great. I don't want to deal with pain for the rest of my life. So, you know what? It's probably better if I take it easy and do like a safe, kind of comfortable thing. Go work out, be healthy, and make sure I take care of my body. But don't do those things like, skateboarding on really fast hills or riding bikes, mountain biking, dirt bike riding. I made it mean like I don't want to hurt myself. I want to take care of myself. So I'm curious, how do you balance between having that joy, finding that fulfillment, that passion, the adrenaline, getting that going, and also taking care of yourself in a way that has us be around and be able to operate our body for a long period of time?
I think you need to read the Banana George book. He broke 8 ribs, he broke his ankle, he tore his knee, and he still went out there. Like everything of life is all about choices and how you want to live. And none of us have any idea of outcome. There are no guarantees in life. Now, if you told me at the age of 44 that I could barefoot backwards on one foot with my hands in the air at the age of 52, I would have laughed you out of the house because that seems impossible to be going 39 miles an hour backwards on one foot with the other foot in the handle. But I can do that because somebody else believed in me. And somebody else didn't even look at my age. My barefoot coaches, they never look at my age. They're out there pushing me. Come on, you can do it. Try it, And we are made to break boundaries. We really are. We are. If you go to a website called growingboulder.com, you will be filled with amazing stories of 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds, 100-year-olds out there living life to the absolute fullest. And that's how it should be. We should be pushing those boundaries every day because we do not know what we are capable of until we push the boundary.
Wow. It's powerful. It's good wisdom. I love it. Awesome. So I think the lesson for me is find the stuff that brings me joy and be curious and fascinated and excited about what I can experience and be responsible, take care of myself, and also seek that joy, seek that rush, seek that experience that's going to really have me feel alive. It's like when we're feeling that adrenaline and going for it and challenging ourselves, pushing our boundaries, that we really feel alive.
Believe me, 43 miles an hour on bare feet. Yeah, you feel the challenge. You feel the adrenaline. I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah. And one of my role models is a 90-year-old guy who is still competing. He's 90.
Man.
He can't walk. He has Charcot-Marie-Tooth syndrome. We have to hop him into his wetsuit. He's out there, competing.
Man.
Puts everything in perspective, doesn't it?
Totally. My gosh.
Makes you rethink what you are capable of. And it's great to have role models like that out there who are breaking the boundaries, who are resetting new boundaries for us, because they make us understand what's possible.
No, it's powerful. Powerful. So, Karen, we're beginning to come to the end, the close here. Are there any last-minute words of wisdom or guidance around passion that you wanted our audience to really receive from this?
I think for the last words of wisdom, I want you to imagine at the end of your life, you are looking back. Maybe it's your 90th birthday. You got this big, beautiful cake in front of you, all lit up, and you're looking back on your life. What's missing? What will you regret if you don't do what you wish you would have done? You're not 90 yet. If you are 90, okay, well, you better get cracking on that cake. So you need to think about that. There's answers in that. And whatever it is, literally tomorrow morning, you need to get up and do something different in your life. Because if you do the same old thing, you will get the same old result. And that's not living.
Wow. That's powerful. Powerful, powerful. Karen, you're a superstar, and you're totally inspiring everyone to go bigger, to play bigger. So thank you for who you are and what you're up to in the world. And how do people stay connected with you, and what do they do next? And tell us about what you're creating in 2018.
2018, I am so proud to say that I am a Southwest Airlines storyteller. Nice. So if you follow hashtag Southwest Storytellers, you'll be finding me flying all over the place. I will be barefooting in Hawaii this year.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm also writing a couple more books. And if you want some passion in your life, go or head over to Amazon or Barnes & Noble and grab this book. I promise you. The answers are in there, and you can reach me at agelesspassions.com.
Awesome. Amazing. Karen, you are stellar. Thank you for being so inspirational, and no matter what comes at you, what adversity, you are unstoppable, and thank you. Thank you for sharing this time with us. Thank you for inspiring our audience. We appreciate you.
I want to give a big thank you to our interpreter, Carmen from Ziglar. She's kept up with this podcast. Thank you,
Yay, Carmen. Thank you. Awesome. Well, Karen, you have the best day ever. Thanks for coming on, and we'll see you soon, okay?
See you soon. Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care.
Bye.